はいどうも、バーチャル YouTuber のセーレです。
はいどうもバーチャルはいどうもバーチャル YouTuber のデナイワタルです。
OK。茶場の終わり。OK。
はい。
So, it's me, Seele000. Seele. For short. Yeah, Seele for short. Gab Dizon in real life. It doesn't really matter anymore.
I mean, the idea is you're always just Seele anywhere else.
Yeah,
Anyway.
definitely.
Like only people who know you IRL call your Gab anyways.
Yeah, true.
Meanwhile, I am Hez. I am Denryu Rider. I am DensSX. I am the random music producer slash general.
You're not even a general Toku guy. You're a Kamen Rider guy.
No, that's not, that was not what I was going to say.
Okay, what?
I'm general passing by Japanese media consumer.
Okay. So, right now, for this segment, I want to talk about VTubers.
Virtual YouTube.
Virtual YouTubers, basically.
What are they even?
Well, first off, let's start with... Okay. Actually, I'm a bit curious with this one. I legitimately do not know this. How did you figure out virtual YouTubers anyway?
Ako?
Like, yeah. How did you get here? Kasi, from my tweet history, you could tell that I've known Kizuna AI ever since she started existing.
Okay.
No, 2 years ago.
I was introduced to Kizuna AI through my online interactions with a certain Australian Japanese YouTube personality, Joey.
Okay.
He had collaborated with Kizuna AI before.
Okay.
The thing is, by the time that Joey had collaborated with Kizuna AI, I had already known of the channel's existence. I had already actually started watching some of the White Void Kizuna AI era.
Shiroi kukan
Yeah, it's just a random void where meron pa rin yung gimmick na he's
like,
just an AI program.
Yes, an
coming
AI. Hi domo, what's our YouTube Kizuna AI desu.
Parang may ganun. At this point, it is like 3:40 in the morning, and we are starting to lose our sanity a little bit. So
That's fine. We're gonna play 2DX.
we are gonna play 2DX
Later.
because Heroic Verse has just come out.
Yeah. And I need to get 7th dan in doubles. Anyway. So
Sorry.
you when was this though?
This was... I actually don't remember. This was probably just... Because Kizuna AI hasn't had the 6-digit subscriber count yet.
Oh, wait, so that's fairly early actually. That's fairly early into her career.
Or at least, paparating pa lang sa 6 digits. Or at least that's what I remember.
So, as most people would know.
But at that time, until mostly now, my idea of virtual YouTuber equals Kizuna AI.
Okay, so here's an interesting thing about virtual YouTubers actually. Like, if you try to track their evolution, there actually have been claims of virtual YouTubers existing before Kizuna AI.
Definitely.
And that's a definite thing. Like,
Because Kizuna AI didn't actually invent...
the concept but she invented the concept of a virtual personality. In a sense that, okay, you have this facade of, like, this is a 2D facade, this is the 2D screen, you're made of pixels, and that is you. Naka no hito ga na. Like,
Nakami no hito ga nai.
yeah, like, naka no hito wa nai desu. Watashi wa watashi desu. ということですね. So, like, it popularized that kind of concept of a YouTuber.
It's basically what Codify did.
Yeah, like, the avatar is you, basically.
There is no layer that is an avatar. The
Yeah.
avatar is you.
Yeah, like, okay, so it's actually interesting to track the evolution from that point. Because at that point, the first generation of VTubers, Kizuna AI, Mirai Akari, Shiro, Oji-san, Bacharu, Kaguya Luna, etc. These were VTubers that claimed to have been directly born from the internet, and their personas were initially based off of that kind of premise. Bachar kai kara kita toyu sette. Essentially.
They were born off the internet.
Yes. Now,
Well, the specifics differ from each one.
the specifics, like how they were born, differ from each one. But apart from Oji-san,
Who is full name?
I forget it. Like I knew it fairly early on in the history, pero like given my current preferences, hindi ko na maalala eh.
I mean, it's just that guy.
Like no, as in he's the example that George commonly confuses most VTubers to be, which is a female avatar with a male voice. He's an old man basically, but he's in a female avatar.
Okay. So yun yung in-expect ni George na ano na.
Yeah, that's George's general expectation of VTuber. Even though that most VTubers actually don't follow that. They follow a
relatively well conceived persona.
No, not just that. As in,
Congruous siya.
like, no, the gender identity of the person playing it is also the same as the gender identity of what they're playing. In a sense.
In a sense.
Well, sometimes you have exceptions like Takehana Note, who is very strange. I can't classify their pronouns. I just refer to them as they. Like, Takehana Note Oji-san ba? But, yeah. So, the first generation of VTubers essentially had the premise that they were all virtual. And then this sort of extends into the second generation when we start getting people like like extensions of Entum, which is essentially Mirai Akari, and then Nijisanji, Hololive, etc. Now, by the late second gen to the third gen, because the second gen is like Mito, etc. Like Mito started out as the following the book of what Nijisanji gave to her as her personality, which is basically tsundere incho. However, she started breaking that as early as like her first or second live stream nga ba? And that started the second modern. I don't even know if I could call it modern because VTubers in general is a modern concept.
The next iteration.
The next iteration of the VTuber definition, which is more of really just, I have a virtual avatar. I am also a YouTuber. Ergo, I am a virtual YouTuber. Granted.
At this point, I think the facade for the first generation started to fade when this happened.
Yeah. Now it's less of a... No, the facade is still there.
Or at least the audience willingly accepts this facade now.
It's more of like they established a virtual world where these are the virtual norms to it. Now, because such a set of norms has been established, the next step is, okay, I am the character that I am playing. So that's why Nijisanji has a ton of different characters, like ranging from Dola, who is a fire drake, to Himawari, who is something. Yeah. Kozuha, who is supposed to be a vampire, I think. And essentially, like, people, these...
and then I don't know what Debbie is supposed to be.
She's a devil. Yeah, like, Debbie is a devil. And then on the Hololive side, you have Kemono Mimi's, like, Fubuki and Mio. And the list just...
How are these treated?
Huh?
Paano tinitibag yung kimono yung video?
They have ears.
They have prehensile ears.
Yeah. Like Fubuki's live model can actually like kawaii. Anyway, what essentially happened is that these are characters born of a virtual world. These are now personalities embodied by their avatars. Now, I could go on and on about several different aspects of VTubers in general, and I will tangent into those multiple times sometimes. But the main case that I want for this specific recording is how VTubers are now shaping the idol industry. While we were at Buffalo's, I was starting to discuss that I think there are four major sectors of demarcating the VTuber image. You have the big ones, Kizuna AI, Kaguya Luna, Mirai Akari, etc. The next level is Hololive.
Curated idols.
Yeah. Then Nijisanji,
And then independence.
and then the independents.
Saan papasok yung mga corporatized VTubers like Santori Nomu?
They exist in a weird space, eh. And actually, I'd like to think of Entum, which also handles Mirai Akari, as a really broad section of the spectrum. Like mostly focused at around the area of the big ones and Hololive. But can extend all the way down to independence because Inuyama Tamaki, or at least his design, is mainly constructed using Entum technology. So, Tsukudani Norio, with the help of Entum, made Inuyama Tamaki debut. And then you also have, so for the corporatized VTubers, like Santori Nomu and Gold Ship, they exist in very specific niches. Well, Gold Ship is already an idol by the definition of her franchise, which is Uma Musume. Uma Musume are all idols, basically. And they all have known Nakanohito. They all have known Seiyu. They all have known actors. Like, Gold Ship is Ueda Reina, etc., etc. And because Uma Musume is a Cygames product, Cygames money!
It is a media franchise of its own.
Yeah, it's a media franchise of its own right. So it's like Cygames money, and sometimes they throw in people like Pecorine for their example. So Princess Connect.
So it's a random like crossover between the franchise, like, because you just had
Cygames money.
Cygames money, yeah.
Yeah, Cygames money. Although Gold Ship mainly handles all the VTuber activities for her channel.
And then what else are mga corporate avatars pa? Like Ichika, I guess.
Yeah, Ichika exists in a weird spot because she technically doesn't really do any VTuber stuff. But she's
Literally just like avatar talaga.
But she's a virtual mascot, basically, that takes the same technology from VTubers and then enhances it because, well, Konami corporate money.
And then I just found out of the existence of the Avex VTubers.
Yeah, and then the Avex VTubers were just really a thing that I wasn't really surprised about. It's like, Shinen no Fukai. The abyss is deep.
Like, even when the major record label in Japan decides to, you know what, let's construct a VTuber idol unit.
Yeah. So like so the spectrum that I mentioned from the big four to the independents, that spectrum is not really even the general spectrum of things. This is the spectrum of the level of curation of its members as idols.
If you're treating them specifically as if they were idols.
Yeah. And in the case of the big ones, they are idols, period. They are already idols. Hololive also comes close because, well, quoting Fubuki here directly while I was listening to her ASMR tracks, she treats being an otaku as her main occupation and being an idol as her secondary occupation. Which is actually, in fairness, true. Because she acts more like an otaku than an idol.
But isn't that part of the image also?
Okay, here's the thing about VTubers that somehow gives them more freedom than traditional idols do. Kasi the big ones, somewhat unfortunately for them, have a fairly well-established image and a very high sponsorship, a very high sponsorship following, that their image is actually fairly, very, very curated. Granted, they still have gamer tendencies, etc., to attract the larger crowd and then like other stuff. But in general, the image that I have of them, at least, is very meticulously curated by whoever's running their administrations. I consider Hololive to be a bit more of a step down to that because let me use Fubuki as an example. Shirakami Fubuki, Hololive, White Fox, very cute. Now, Fubuki, when she first debuted, is already outed herself as an otaku, and at the same time, it got to the point where she founded an entire unit in Hololive, which is Hololive Gamers. So you could tell that she really likes playing her games, and this is something that you just can't fake sometimes, and that's an advantage I think that VTubers have over traditional idols is that yes, their image can be curated, but because of the veneer of anonymity presented by their avatars, they can technically be themselves without exposing their identity. They can be themselves, imprint that self into their virtual avatars without the risk of backlash, or rather, with very little risk of backlash to their own personal identity. And I think that's a thing idols of before the age of YouTubers, could not afford it. Because let's say you got into a scandal as a 48G idol. Mahirap yan.
That could carry lifelong implications for you.
Yeah, that could carry lifelong implications for you.
Especially when you're dealing with something like 48G.
Yeah.
48G are probably the most curated of all of the idol groups.
Period.
Yeah.
Especially with all the rules boyfriend, the boyfriend rules, etc. Although this is a deeper rooted problem in the idol industry in general.
That deserves its own episode later.
Yeah, that's an entirely different topic to discuss.
Yeah.
But if you're a VTuber, let's say that you want to quit due to several reasons, really. Any reason, in fact. You could just graduate. So you retire the persona without even exposing who you are as a person, and quietly fade away. That's a huge advantage.
For the entertainment industry in general.
Yeah, imagine after being an entertainer for so long and then your persona at least got embroiled in something. Or you just decided you didn't really want to do it anymore. You could just say, I'm done. I'm retiring, guys. Goodbye. Cut.
The obscurity is actually an advantage.
Yeah. Because then you could leave. Because the people have an image of you as the online persona. Not as a person with a face attached to it. Thus, if you detach yourself from that persona, hindi ka na yan eh. You're no longer that person. You're no longer that VTuber. Which is then a ridiculously huge advantage, to be honest. Although, at the moment, I'm using Hololive here as a primary example, but Nijisanji VTubers also apply to this as well. Because of the extent of the obscurity and the anonymity, they can also be a bit more honest, or rather, if not honest, they can play up certain aspects of either their character's personality or themselves that would normally be quite unacceptable in the showbiz industry. Like in the showbiz industry 5 years ago. Like for example, like if you had, let's just use Mito for example. What are Mito's interests? Well, when she was a kid, she started eating grass. And like she confessed to eating grass. She watched the Human Centipede, and all of the games that she plays involving the Europa project are like, what the fuck is this?
Or like they would need to have the Goran Shugi tag attached to them for
Yeah.
the most part.
Yeah, like, can you maintain an idol like this if it were the usual idol industry? One with such an openly weird and
If the gimmick is specifically that, then
if the gimmick is
maybe.
specifically that, maybe yes. But then if you were initially marketed as some pure seiso,
Incho pa man.
tsundere incho, like
and then
it's
immediately,
kioske,
and then immediately breaks
break that personality. It's like, well, it's a thing in. It's actually such a trend now in Nijisanji that it's almost expected, really.
私で隠さなきゃ。ちょっとやめてやめてやめて。ちょっとふざけんなお前ふざけんなふざけんなよ。じゃふざけんなお前待て待て待て待て待て待て。はい音消しました。デスクトップを。
But yeah, VTubers like Mito started it.
Yeah, like, but VTubers like Mito started it. Like, sure, VTuber, like, initial like, pioneers like Kizuna AI were already, like, cursing like sailors. But even then, it's not like they were a thing while they were doing it. Like, alala ko pa rin yung video ni Kizuna AI, like, she goes like, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
May ganun na siya.
Yeah.
So,
But she didn't really understand what fuck you meant.
wait, no, seriously, yun yung concept ng video?
No. Like, she was playing a game, and then, like, except, well, it didn't have Japanese subtitles in it. It was all in English. And then she was just, like, hearing fuck you. And she was like, fuck you! Like, it was literally like seeing an AI learn the word fuck you for the first time. So,
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! もう終わってよ
If you put it that way, I guess that would be in character.
it's in character, but also, like, at the same time, like, I was generally amused by the sound fuck you. So,
Coming from Kizuna AI.
yeah. So, there wasn't really much of an idol image back then, like, when I was doing it, And then, like, Shiro, and then Mirai Akari, and then Shiro followed as well.
And then
So-
later we have entire virtual YouTubers whose entire stick is basically that.
Yeah. And, like, when I and all of the other big ones started peaking, that's I think when companies like Hololive and Nijisanji and Entom started thinking na maybe we should curate our virtual personalities like idols. Although I think Hololive went on it on the get-go with Tokino Sora. Tokino Sora debuted specifically because she was a really good singer. And then the rest followed, like the first years of Hololive, etc., etc. Now, it is somewhat concerning for me that there is, like, a expectation that some VTubers will have a dirty image to them. Especially in Nijisanji.
Nijisanji siguro.
But I think it's also welcome. It's a welcoming thing that, hey, these virtual personalities, like, they have really huge followings. They are sometimes treated like idols, but for the most part, they're just like any other person who's on YouTube. Likes playing games, likes talking to people, and sometimes just likes to fuck with people if not fucking people entirely. Or in the case of Gibara, lonely as fuck. Or Meiya, lonely as fuck. So, in a way, ironically, being a VTuber, or rather, the VTuber facade humanizes these personalities more in a sense. Because then, they have an additional veneer to them that they can detach from in case that something goes too far. Like, na-amuse ako because Otokibara era, aka Gibara, had this one video like when she was playing Shogun Action, and then
Is Otokibara already known for playing such games already by that point?
well, not really. She's more known to just play anything that comes by. Like she'd play Tetris if invited to Tetris party. She'd play Mario Kart if needed. I think someone threw Shogun Action at her just to see how she'd react.
After playing such an already, well, you call it a needle game.
Well, I call it a needle game because it looks like most needle games, but in reality, it's more of a Mario. It's a Mario style platformer compared to a needle game because needle games are designed very, very differently. But that's besides the point. So, Gibara, kasi yan, di ba? Well, Gibara was playing Shogun Action. And then, like, she got one step wrong. It's like,
Ah, Gomikase! Shire!
Here is the instant replay.
she got one step wrong. It's like, Komikatsu!
Well, I'm going to cut.
Yeah. And she's like, Gomikatsu, shine! And, like, she managed to take that soundbite and
own it.
and own it. So that whenever someone like proposes to her in a really dirty way on Marshmallow, for example, she just play that track like Gomikasu Shine, and her viewers are just like amused, if not entertained by that fact. Normally, like, I think Gibara is a really good example of this actually.
Because that wouldn't pass if it was a conventional idol.
Kasi no, Gibara was originally designed to be a Cinderella-like character. And then you look at Gibara now, it's like, Cinderella.
Or rather, what the alternate Cinderella would be if you know those kinds of like alternate fictions, right? It's more.
Yeah.
What if Cinderella was never acted like Cinderella? Parang ganun.
Yeah. Like, I like to think of her as the Cinderella of the modern age. Does not give fucks. Does not give fucks. No. Does not give fucks about herself. Would rather give fucks to people like, fuck you.
And I think this is the kind of like fairy tale subversion that most people are actually coming to expect in the modern era.
Yeah, and actually, I think that's also the reason why Gibara really is popular. Because she's just a really good subversion of the usual Cinderella image. Like, she's a Cinderella that will just say, fuck off. You're not my prince. And I find that really, really nice. So that's Gibara. Nijisanji VTubers really have this tendency to subvert. But if you look at Hololive, for example, you have weird people like Matsuri. Matsuri is like the sexual harassment unit of
Wait, why?
Hololive.
Wait, how did that happen pala? Kasi
I don't know.
I'm aware of this image, but I don't know why.
No, she's just constantly thirsty. She's constantly thirsty.
Elaborate.
Nah, let me quote Ryan while he was watching Matsuri's stream yesterday.
Ryan? Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So quoting Matsuri in English. With such cute girls in front of them, is there any man that could hold themselves back? Well, I'm not a man though. He's quoting Matsuri here. So like, that's the level of thirst. Like,
So she is fully expecting this kind of reaction from the audience.
From her fellow Hololivers. Like, she has this tendency to hit on her fellow Hololivers.
Specifically?
Everyone.
Everyone.
She comes close to.
So she's that.
Yeah.
That girl.
Yeah, she's that girl. She has almost no restraint with girls. For men, may onting restraint pa siya unless it's Yashiro. Or some other guy who's really easy to tease. Like Yashiro.
Yashiro will be infinitely easy to tease because, well, he's Yashiro.
Well, Yashiro's like a JK so for Matsuri, that's practically a JK. Easy target. And possibly... sino nga yun? Shit. Who was it? Fuck. Who was it? Talang. My brain is lagging. My motto.
My motto.
Except, well, my motto is already, like, out there.
Why?
Huh?
Why is my motto out there already?
He's shipped with a ton of girls. Like...
He is one of the several sons of the Nijisanji already.
Yeah. And in fairness, kasi like, he's a kind guy. His avatar is, yes.
Is Nogyo, rugged na
It's
na
like,
old na.
like, kasi, do you know his supposed
Concept?
setting? Yeah.
What? Ano eksaktong details ng setting?
He's a farmer.
Oh, sweet. So that isn't fanon.
That isn't fanon. That's his actual setting.
Okay. So at least a confirmation. Okay, that is what
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be seeing. Okay.
So he's supposed to be a farmer. And he has like really good relationships with several women all over the place. Within Nijisanji, within Hololive, even within the independents.
Also, one thing I'd like to point out about Matsuri's gimmick, or just that specific
It's not really a gimmick. It's an actual personality trait.
the personality trait of hers, is that I don't think that's going to pass if Matsuri was male.
It depends. If Matsuri was male and he was hitting on other guys, then
That's exactly the point. Like
that's going to pass. It's going to pass.
it's going to pass. I mean,
Yes. Not with the guys. Well, maybe with some of the guys. I mean, kasi the thing is with YouTube comments is that you can't really tell the gender of the person that's making the comment. So, given the ratio of people on the internet, sometimes you'd assume that there are more guys than girls, or sometimes you'd assume that it's a 50-50.
But I know there are several comment sections on the web that are female dominated. I would know.
Yeah. So you can't really tell if the people that are thirsty for my motto are male or female. Because in general, I think it's both. I think it's both.
I am considering that I ran into particularly interesting fan art of my motto recently.
The succubus my motto.
I've not seen that yet. Mostly because I haven't been to R18 Pixiv yet. I kind of don't want to go there until I have had my laptop fixed.
Yeah.
Because I would be at work.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why the abbreviation unless the NSFW is meant to sound like that. So.
Yeah. But yes, succubus my motto is a meme.
It's a meme.
Yes.
On my motto's channel itself.
And on several other people's channels where
In Nijisanji.
Yeah. And in Hololive. And even among the independents.
Why?
Huh? Because there's something about my motto that just attracts women and sometimes men.
Like who started it?
Huh? It started within Nijisanji. Like I forget. Like the thing is with Nijisanji is that there's so many of them that I can't remember all of them.
I mean, to be fair, Nijisanji is a pretty big.
Like in comparison to Hololive, like as I said, like the way I constructed big ones, Hololive, Nijisanji Independence is not just a spectrum of curation, but it's also a pyramid. So Hololive actually has fewer members compared to the entire team Nijisanji because
Nijisanji.
malaki ang Nijisanji.
They have ABCD groups nga eh.
Yeah, they have Indonesia. So
And also Indonesia, which we'll talk about at some point, I guess, later.
yeah. We will talk about Nijisanji ID as well, because at that point, we will now be talking about the future prospects of VTubers beyond Japan. But now I want to talk about Gundo.
Gudomine.
Yeah, Gundo Mirei. Because she's also a fairly interesting character. In fact, her and Skoya, this is what separates Hololive, Nijisanji from Hololive. Gundo Mirei and Skoya Kana, like, nakamiga bareta.
Both of those. Okay, yeah. Their identities have been revealed.
To a certain amount of people who are not supposed to be involved there. Particularly for Gundo Mirei, her students. For Skoya, one of her friends at least, who's not really a VTuber, who's not connected to VTubers at all. And that's where you get the
Difference. The big difference.
it's a big difference in the level of curation. Because in the case of Hololive, you still maintain the image of, okay, Shirakami Fubuki. Natsuhiro Matsuri is Natsuhiro Matsuri. In fact, like Matsuri's mom, like her real mom, did appear in Matsuri's streams. Her name is Mamatsuri. And she has her own avatar.
So, ginawan pa siya ng sariling avatar.
Yeah, it doesn't move. It doesn't move though. It's just a sprite. But it resembles Matsuri enough so that they do look alike. And like Mamatsuri also has Mamatsuri also has her own Twitter account.
Oh, what already?
Yeah. But yeah, in general, the curation of Hololive is still to the extent where, okay, these characters, these personalities can have very wonky traits, but they are still their characters. Or rather, they made their characters what they are. Now, in the case of Nijisanji, there's more freedom in the sense that, okay,
There's at least a little more awareness.
yeah,
There's a little more awareness that they're
playing a
character.
They're playing the characters, but Nijisanji doesn't really mind that much, at least. Like, they're not overly controlling. I mean, Gundo Mirei was and like, halimbawa, Nijisanji has guys That's another thing that distinguishes them from Hololive. Hololive is all female. They really are an idol unit. Nijisanji is less that and more of a collection of talents. And that's a really important thing that separates them. And furthermore, because they're not technically idols, they're more of general talents and personalities. Halimbawa, like, it is publicly known in the VTuber sphere that Gundo Mirei is both a virgin and not a virgin. She has lost her anal virginity, at the very least. That is somehow publicly known thanks to Tamaki.
But even then, this could very much well be something that Tamaki had made up for the purpose.
No. It's not made up at all. I think Gundo actually mentioned it before.
Okay, without having. Okay.
Yeah. But imagine this. I don't think it would pass in Hololive even if it was known that Gundo lost her anal virginity. Because, well, Gundo's not treated as an idol. She's just someone who talks on the internet. That happens to be a Nijisanji. That happens to be a member of Nijisanji. So, the level of curation is very, very different. And if you were a physical personality, at least you would probably get away with that if you were just a showbiz personality at least. But as an idol, no. So you could already see certain tiers of the virtual show business industry within just the few things that I mentioned. Now we finally get down to the independents. The independents have a lot of creative freedom to their because most of them don't really answer to anyone but themselves.
And therefore, they basically can inform their own creative decisions in a way that the corporatized VTubers can't.
Yeah. Like, obviously, when they decide to collab with someone, it depends on where that person comes from. If they're also an independent, that's probably the easiest way to do it. Like, whenever Tamaki collabs with Meiya, just one Skype call away. But when Tamaki collabs with someone from Hololive, for example, well, it has to go through Hololive. But thing is, Hololive and Tamaki have a very friendly relationship. So, it usually just passes straight through. In the case of Nijisanji, however, I found out during the interview stream between Norio and Rion, Takamiya Rion, that there's actually a memo, an internal memo in Nijisanji telling them that initially told them to be very wary of Tamaki because she might drag you down to the pits of hell as a VTuber. But then Nijisanji VTubers just collab with her anyway. So, it's a funny thing. But essentially, independents have a lot more creative freedom to move in. Like, for example, you have, let me list down 3. Inuyama Tamaki, Akatsuki Uni, Kagura Meiya. They have very different modes of operation. Tamaki's mode of operation is that essentially, well, I don't know if I should make this completely, maybe out of courtesy, I guess. Tamaki and Norio are essentially a tag team where the producer is directly the artist. The artist of the illustration, the artist of the virtual avatar. So, essentially, whatever Tamaki does is already subject to the approval of Tsukudani Norio. And that's essentially unlimited freedom on whatever she does. On whatever they do as a team. Contrast that with Akatsuki Uni, who has her own company. That essentially...
They started her own company.
Yeah, she essentially started her own company and studio for the sake of VTuber recording.
That she actually had to have invested in such a long period of time and with several sources of money.
Yeah. And like, the interesting thing about this is that, okay, just comparing the two. Tamaki started out with a reasonable amount of resources because Tsukudani Norio was already a fairly well-established mangaka with Himegoto. But then, obviously, as a VTuber, she was still struggling initially. I would know because I saw her start out, actually. I saw them start out as a VTuber team. And eventually, like, thanks to Tamaki's personality of being like an otokonoko that was slightly unhinged yet really had a really good singing voice and had a really good, like, was a really good talker. So, their popularity was really fairly grassroots in a sense. That they managed to draw in quite a good following. Like right now, I think Tamaki has around magwa 190k na.
190k subscribers.
Yeah. In contrast, Uni's direction, kasi Tamaki's direction was more of, Tamaki doesn't really play games eh. Tamaki is more of a boyabunda.
It's more of a free talk / interview channel.
Yeah, it's a free talk / interview channel with the occasional like inmu shenanigans.
Sabagay kasi...
Yeah, taking full advantage of the fact that Inuyama Tamaki is an otokonoko.
I mean, I've only heard of all of those if Tamaki is paired with Nobuhime.
Yeah, but sometimes Tamaki just does it himself. Like, yes.
Just him in the stream.
Yeah, just him in this. Like, sometimes Tamaki would post a video that is essentially like, why the fuck are you posting this? Kind of thing.
Like, won't you get
demonetized for this? And yet, he never does. He never, like, ever since he got his monetization, it has just been a steady stream of money.
Or at least, hindi niya nire-reveal kung nade-demonetize siya o hindi. That's a very important thing.
Yeah, and even then, like like during the last stream, they were still getting super chats. Norio was still getting super chats, so that's the thing. So
Well, super chats and channel memberships are completely different income stream. I think that's a pretty integral part of Japanese VTuber income streams in general. Is the super chat, is the channel membership. That's the new features from YouTube that actually got use
yeah,
in Japanese YouTube. So
yeah, and even then, so yeah. In contrast, so that's Tamaki's style. Uni's style, on the other hand, is more leaning towards, let's just say, traditionalist methods. Like, first off, nearly all of her videos are either educational snippets, educational lessons, or radio shows. In fact, she's so well known for that format that Chiba hired her,
the professor.
yes, for her to host a series on Chiba's famous people.
That was directly sponsored by the prefecture of Chiba itself.
Yes. Like Chiba no Ijin.
Talagang nakakuha pa talaga siya ng client talaga in the prefectural government talaga.
Well, it's also a fact kasi that Uni is known to collab with Red Cross.
As part of yung educational na slant ng channel niya.
No, apart from that, like, blood drives. She's a vampire.
Well, that's an obvious
Yeah.
link or something.
Like, she has done 2 or 3 collabs so far with with
real
Red
world
Cross.
collabs na to, no?
Huh?
This is real world collabs now.
Yeah, real world collabs with Red Cross.
So this is her image is being used by the Japanese Red Cross.
Yeah. Like right now, I think sa Kyoto Red Cross blood drive, siya nakakollab ngayon. So it's either an educational stick or radio shows. Kaya nga, like, her live streaming with her 3D model was really big. Because that just meant that she had enough resources na to make it as smooth as she wanted. So that's Uni's shtick as an independent VTuber. And furthermore, she can get additional income because she can lend out her studio for anyone who wants to use it for a certain fee, but still.
And that's actually a pretty interesting center point for several of the other independent VTubers
Yeah.
who happen to use Uni's facilities.
Yeah,
Or Uni's home studio.
yeah.
Company studio? I don't know.
It's a company studio. It's like Uni Create is a registered company.
Okay. So
Yeah.
it's got registration on it and everything.
Yeah, it's a registration it's a registered company. It is even has a PO number. So
It even has its own PO box.
yeah, it has its own PO box. So yeah, and then so those are 2, and then we get to Kagurameya, who's of the very strange species of VTuber units that used to exist but no longer do. So Kagurameya was like, I think she's actually the only surviving member of that unit.
What unit?
Pari Pro.
A Party Pro, okay.
Yeah.
So a quick recap of what it is.
Essentially, Pari drew 4 VTubers, and each of them has, well, a person behind it. And Pari was like, okay, bahala kayo. It was a very free project, and I think it was because of the lack of curation that the other 3 just disappeared. And then Maya was the only one left. And ironically, I think May was the only one left because of her such lack of restraint.
So for anyone who is not familiar with Kagura May, how would you describe her content?
Omae, nande VTuber yatten no? I mean, I get why she does it, but
I mean, like you question why this is a thing that she puts up on YouTube at all.
yeah. The thing is kasi with Maya is that if you were extremely online as a person, you just call her a shitlord and be done with it. But I am a bit more nuanced than that. I'd like to think of Maya as How do I describe Maya? I think it's easier to describe her by the things that she says and does. So let me give a brief summary of what she has said and done over the past 2 streams she had with Tamaki.
And only the past 2 streams.
Yeah. Okay. During the psychopath exam that she took with Tamaki, that she took under Tamaki,
And several other VTubers.
and several other VTubers, such as Matsuri. Matsuri won that contest, but that was funny. So Matsuri won that contest, but Maya's answers were just out of this world. I think I could actually draw from that stream. Ugh. Like, to give a good summary of Maya as a person, like not just as a VTuber, as a person, here are her answers to the psychopath exam that Tamaki gave to them. So question 1. So Santa Claus gave a boy a soccer ball and a bicycle for Christmas. But the boy wasn't really happy about it. Why?
Why?
So, okay, let's actually try to play this game a bit. What would your answer be? Why would the boy not be happy about it?
I think my brain would go to the whole idea of well, you're sick, so I can't really, like the boy can't really be playing with these things because siya, incapable siya at the moment.
Umae psychopath daro. Umae psychopath daro.
Yun din yung sinagot niya?
No. Well, no. Maya's answers are not the psychopathic correct answers at least according to the Shindan.
Oh, okay.
But well, Matsuri answered.
Matsuri answered this.
Yeah, but Maya's answers are all out of this world. So I think this is a very good summary of some VTuber personalities actually. So ippan teki na kaito wa mo motte ita kara hoshiku nai mono dakara. Mo motte ita kara moshiku wa hoshiku nai mono dakara.
It seems...
It's either meron na siya o ayaw niya. That's the normal person answer. Seikai wa otoko no ko ni ashi ga nakatta kara.
Yun yung sagot ni Maya.
No, ni Matsuri at ni Gundo. That's the correct answer.
That's a psychopathic answer.
Yeah.
So mine was in the spirit of this.
Yes, yours was in the spirit of it. Okay, Kagura Maya's answer was... Kakin shite mo taishita kako ga ni naranai kara.
Taishita ano?
Taishita kako ni wa naranai kara. Even if I sell this won't really make enough money. Binboso na na.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. For Maya,
I can't sell this.
I can't sell this. That's just number 1.
This is number 1.
This is a 10-point quiz.
Okay. So I guess let's play this game, and I guess mine's not looking to a great start because I think by the end of this test I'll find out that I am somewhat psychopathic in some way.
Okay. Question number 2. So, okay, you really don't like a particular person, so you snuck up in their house, killed them, and somehow also killed their kid and their pet that had nothing to do with it. Why?
Why?
Why would you do that?
Oh wait, this assumes that I did it. So I had to have done it.
Yeah.
So I killed the person I didn't like, but also somehow managed to kill the kid and the cat at the same time.
The pet, whatever. Yeah.
家が爆発させてもらいました。
Okay, so you made the house explode. That's how you perform the murder. Okay,
Yeah.
good. luckily for you, that is not the psychopathic answer.
What? That isn't?
Yeah.
それだけでなく無関係な子供とペットをも殺しました。それは一体なぜでしょうかという。
I just wanted to make the house inexplicably collapse in some manner. And explosion is one way.
一般的な回答はこちらです。顔を見られたら現状を見られた。
Yeah, yeah.
ペットが騒ぐと面倒だから。
Yeah, that's the normal answer, yeah.
Yeah.
Because they're witness.
サイコパスの回答は
現場を見られた。この人ないみたいな空気になるのがちょっと異常かもしれないんですけども。
稲葉跳ねると夏色祭りが正解は当たってました。
So both Inaba and Matsuri got it.
Matsuri's answer was 天国で一緒にいられるようにという優しさ。それはサイコパスの正解です。That way they will be together in heaven. いや、そういう回答でした。
そういう回答。
What the fuck? Fuck you, Watsons!
Maybe we should do a stream at some point with just us doing random Shindan Maker stuff.
Yeah, sure.
行ってみましょう。こちらで。か
Okay.
なっていう感じなんですけど、半分正解半分。
Your answer is closer to Meia's answer.
Which is
メイの回答は覚えていない。気がついたらみんな血だらけで倒れた。わら。
what?
I don't remember. Last I saw they were just all bloodied up and dead. Yours is the closest to Meia's. Kaya pinasabog ko.
Yeah, it's like, oh wait, I like, oh, that house just suddenly inexplicably exploded.
Anyway, now do you have a feel of what Kagura Meiya is?
Utter protag-centered morality, Meiya.
Yes! That's not even getting into when she started ranting about her love life.
he to the max na siya eh.
Yeah. But at the same time, like, if you think about it, is Meiya really that Hijoshiki?
No, it's so Hijoshiki it comes back into around being a twisted common sense.
Yeah. Meiya has that flavor to her that just speaks to the people. In a sense that doesn't really resonate, that doesn't really appear with most VTubers. Like, thing is kasi, okay, here's something that I don't think that I would want to have refrained from doing, but I'm going to say it outright. Certain people know Meia's real name, at least her first name.
Okay.
I know her first name.
How?
Huh? It slipped out during one of her streams.
Okay, so
Either her mom or her sister called her out during her stream and she forgot to mute.
So first name niya.
Yeah, first name. At least her first name lang naman. But yeah, everyone started teasing her about it, but then like, I think most people have decided that, okay, we're not gonna say it. I'm not gonna say it, on record at least. Because like, well, this is Jigo Chitokda for her case. Because she has this tendency to say, okay guys, so magwa-one-to-one talk sila ng kasama niya. Minsan. It's like, mute shimasu ne, but she's not going to mute it at all. Like that time when when she and Aqua talked about underwear.
So it ended up being totally on record anyway.
It ended up being totally on record because Meiya was intending it to be like that. Like, hi, pants naniro desu ka? Nande?
Okay.
Nande kiku no?
Oh, okay. It's the pants stream. Okay.
Yeah. Nande kiku no? Sore.
I only heard of this.
大丈
actually.
夫。ミュートするから。本当に？じゃあミュートしますね。Well, obviously, Meiya did not mute it.
Like pretends to mute the stream.
Depends, you know.
赤ちゃん今日パンツ何色履いてんの？
白。
へえ。白のなんか柄は？
なんか
ちょっとフリフリになってるやつ。
布パンなの？
布だけど、
布なんだけど
か
レースついてんの？
あ、そうそうそうそう。
あ、なんかトゥルトゥルな感じではない感じね。
そう、ああいうのね、なんか好きじゃない。
ちょっと大人っぽくない感じ。ちゃんと布ね。
And then they proceed to talk about underwear, and then after which Ako's like, "Ne, なんてミュートしてないの?何言ってんですか?何言ってんですか?ねってば like, and then finally May went like,
騙される方が悪いんですよ。
やめてよ、ライアーゲーム死んで。
ライアーゲーム見たばっかだからし。
そうなの？
そう、ライアーゲーム見たばっか、映画の方。
みやちゃん絶対キノコのやつじゃん。
お前
but yeah, we got off on a really weird tangent here. But anyway, I think we can settle for this. Since the VTube, I don't really intend for the VTuber segment to be as structured as, or even as conclusive as
it's
the science segment. This is really just me fucking around. Because, well,
this is the extra episode.
this is an extra episode where I don't like I cared more about the science parts because those are things that I really want to get across. But for the VTuber parts, this is just Zatsu done.
That's done.
Yeah. But anyway, 俺たち死ぬぞ。
Okay.
このままでは死ぬぞ。
Yeah.
喉が死ぬ、そして体が死ぬ、頭が
壊れそうな。
いや妙にスッキリするね。妙にスッキリするんだ。俺の頭が。
非常に頭が。
凸がない凸がないこれがはいか。何にも飲んでいないのね。何にも飲んでいるので。なあ。Anyway, so
Okay.
this is it for the VTuber section and for this general recording.
We have been recording for 7 hours.
Holy shit.
Well, almost 7 hours at least.
Anyway, to close this VTuber segment, I would like to remind ourselves of our identities. Seele Gabdizon. Twitter at Seele000. SEELE 000.
If you have several questions.
フォローよろしくそして
I am his. But for most purposes, I go with some variation of Denryu. Because,
on Twitter, he's the new rider.
yes, I am Denryu Rider on Twitter.
Anyway, welcome to whatever this. Thank you for listening to whatever this is.
This has been whatever this is, or whatever the podcast actually is going to be named.
Yeah, and we are. Well, actually, why did we start this thing in the first place? Simple.
We just.
8D Productions.
Oh yes.
Sort of.
Okay, yeah. I guess this is one of the more serious implementations of the whole. Okay, we have been bouncing this Team 8 Dimension thing for a while.
Yes.
For in the SM North Otoge kind of community, but the thing is, the 8D thing isn't even an actual North designation. It's just us.
Yeah.
It is a specific kind of friend group, and we're planning on just doing a specific media thing for it. So, here it is. We have actually went ahead and recorded a whole podcast for this and everything.
Yeah. なぜでしょうか
Because we can.
Because we have one mic.
Because we have. I mean, this is only one mic, so that's going to be a problem because I'm probably going to sound very weird.
We have one mic, one room, 2 laptops, and it is 5:30
It is 5:30,
a.m.
and we are going to in 2 hours.
Yes, 2 hours. I have the money.
Should I split na lang with you, I guess?
No. Well, no. Yeah, split na lang. Kasi like, okay, the thing is, we are going to and then
We are BMSing.
either BMSing or we will die on the spot. We'll have wake us up, or if we choose not to die, then mag-BMS tayo. And then, we die on the ride to MOA.
To MOA.
Yes.
We dead.
We shall die during the... We die during the ride to MOA. Para at the very least man lang. To recover some sleep. Anyway, this is whatever this is. Featuring me and
Me.
and you. Anyway, ご視聴ありがとうございました。
Thank you.
マジで。